Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Wano Amira binti Wan Ahmad. So our group is presenting about the topic of the cult of hedonism among youth. The problem of the case study is a negative behavior which is involving activities such as sexual promiscuity, drug and alcohol addiction, excessive entertainment, obsession with branded and luxury goods, and being overly materialistic among youth. The root causes of why this happens are because of gaining pleasure is the most important thing in their life than anything including Allah. Other than that, they only think of and want to fill their desires and needs as they want to please what they want in their life without boundaries. Moreover, this happened because they want to show off a successful image to other people. This situation has led to the cult of hedonistic behavior among youth, which makes them not focusing the real purpose of their life in this world as human being and subject to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They also think that they don't need Allah as guide in their life as they could get to fulfill their desires and needs the way they want. These kind of issues should be highlighted as it shouldn't be influencing our mind as it could be worsened day by day. As it also will distance ourselves from the Creator as we too involved in being overly addicted and obsessed with something. To clarify, youth tend to enjoy the excessive entertainment due to their ignorance to remember that Allah can take back everything in their life from them at no time. Moreover, they get selfish as they only want the good things happen or benefits themselves. And lastly, they tend to put other things such as position, qualification, and acknowledgement of other things above Allah.
Thank you so much Wan Nur Amira for your explanation about our project introduction. So we will go to the plan methodology and actual education of method. Before I start, I want to introduce myself. My name is Amir Haziq bin Matno and my metric number is 2017959. Okay. For our plan methodology, we use quantitative method to gain a best result and actual number from our respondent. We only use this method and do not use qualitative method. To collect the data from our respondent, we create a question through the Google form and spread it to the WhatsApp. We spread the Google form to our family members and friends only because we only want the respondent who are teenagers and not younger or oldest people. We also target only 35 or 40 respondents to answer our survey. By spreading the data through the Google survey, we can know the problem and solution for our topic. Besides, we can know if this problem or this ideology is serious or not, is serious issue or not in our society right now. And now we go to next slide, which is actual education of method. From the survey, we get a various of answer from our society about the thing that relate to hedonism and how they want to overcome it. We already predict that most of our respondent, which is 75% of them, do not know about the hedonism. Because of that, we put the description or definition of hedonism and example of it. So our respondent can know about hedonism before they answer our survey, and they can answer our survey correctly. In the survey, we focus on the question on how this ideology can affect our society and the best way to overcome it. The result said that two main cause of this ideology happen in our society is The first is lack of the mass media influence and lack of religious belief. That is the main cause that our respondents said. Secondly, we also provide a solution for overcome this ideology from our society, and our respondent agree that the best way to overcome this ideology is by getting closer to our religion, which is Islam. That's all from me. I will continue with Muhammad Syamir bin Salim with the result and discussion and Islamic worldview.
Thank you, my friend Amir Hazing, for the explanation of the plan and methodology in our project. So, I will proceed with the result and discussion. For the main cause, out of 70% of our respondents agreed that the influence of the mass media is the most important factor in the occurrence of the hedonism in our society. This is because majority of our society have their own social media accounts regardless of age limits such as WhatsApp, Facebook, and Instagram. So, it is quite rare if someone doesn't have any social media account, at least one. The mass media has its own pros and cons. If we use it wisely, it can bring all the benefit to us. But if we use it unwisely, it can bring harm, such as spend our mostly time in the entertainment in the mass media until we forget our duty as a Muslim, such as prayer, works, and study. So, it can be relatable with the Islamic worldview that we have studied before, which is the concept of Tawhid, which means attributing oneness to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and describing Him as being one and unique, with no partner or peer in his essence and attribute as stated in our Shahada. With the presence of social media, worship and good deeds done by them will deviate from their true intention, which is because of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For example, some of them go to the mosque just to upload their pictures on social media so that they are seen as a pious person and good person and praised by followers on the social media. This action is equated with the previous concept of ignorant people, that is to do something not because of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but only to get approval and respect from human beings. Besides that, another cause that can lead to hedonism is lack of religious belief. When the religious belief in community, especially the youngsters, are not too strong, they can easily fall into the culture of hedonism. As we can see, the effects of globalization in this world without no borders are the cause of the culture of hedonism is increased in our society. For example, many of our society thinks that everything that came from West is proud to be imitated, especially from the aspects of their lifestyle, dressing, laws, and others. As a result, many of them are influenced to practice the modern way of life without thinking whether it is against the Sharia or not. So, it can be related to the Islamic worldview, which is the concept of Rabbaniyah, that means to put Allah as a Rabb in our life, and we must obey all the law from Allah because we as a subject must follow the law of our Creator. So, by putting Allah as a Rabb, we believe that happiness comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and He is the best planner in our life. So, we can live without any worry if we do not get what we want in order to avoid from the useless deeds. Other than that, based from our survey that we carry out, there is some solution on how to overcome the problem of hedonism. So, 22/37 people based from our respondent agree that the best solution to overcome this problem is by getting closer to Deen. So, Deen is the basis of the Sharia and basis of one's faith. The stronger or closer a person in Deen, the less his or her potential to get involved with this symptom of the hedonism. So, the best method to get closer to Deen is by practicing the concept of ubudiyah in Islamic worldview. Ibadah means obedience, submission, devotion to God, and we as a Muslim must to be a slave and not just to be a worshipper only. So, slave mean that we must follow all the rules from Allah either we like or not. So, the concept of ubudiyah refers to the nature of devotion of a person only to Allah, but different to the hedonists where they are emphasizing freedom and of thought and enjoyment as the basis. As an example, the hedonism only views that pleasure and happiness, both physically and mentally, are the main goals of living in this world. But in Islamic perspective, world pleasure is only a temporary pleasure in the world, while external life is the afterlife.
For the recommended solution, we have decided the recommended solution has to be carried out in the form of a poster. The poster as shown in the slides is posted on social media apps Instagram, and it aims to spread awareness among our society relating to the cult of hedonism among youth. The poster is also allowing people to know more about the hedonism by putting an adequate and enlightening information in the poster, such as the meaning of hedonism, Islam views based on Al-Quran, which is Surah Hud, verses 15 to 16, the reasons of Islam prohibition towards the obsessive cult of hedonism, and the impacts of hedonism in our life, and also the duty of as a Muslim. This poster will enable people who are consuming most of their time on the social media gets them to think and reflects on the influences of hedonistic perspective in their life.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Wanur Amir. Now let me talk about outcomes. From the solution carried out, we have used a Google survey to receive and unambiguous and accurate feedback from response reading the post. Islam is directly assumed to directly and indirectly influence the behavior of autism. The research result shows that a person's worldview has an impact on the development of his or her hedonistic behavior. We can also conclude that a person religious beliefs also attract the development of his or her hedonistic behavior. In addition, the study also gave an explanation of why Islam prohibits hedonistic and what influence hedonistic has on our life. This means that hedonistic has occupied a large part of people's lives, and people need to recognize their worldview, because in the Islamic view, secular happiness is only temporary happiness in the world, and in no life is afterlife. We cannot abandon future generations because of the enjoyment of this world, and Islam does not allow comparison, promiscuity with crime, and discrimination against others. The responsibility of Muslims is not to conquer their own design on and selfish design, and cannot regard this design as model for their pursuit. Thank you, all of one. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.